stuff like that, but I don't see myself hosting and doing all that stuff. I just want to do my music thing. And I was like, no, just try it. And it went from there, and it just escalated. So that wasn't what actually drew me to it, to be honest. I did watch fan content before I did, but I never looked at it and thought it was something that I wanted to actually do. It was just something that happened by accident, to be honest.
Okay, cool, man. That's interesting. The next question I wanted to ask.
United, then. Sorry.
Say that again?
I said, pity you support United.
Well, you're Arsenal or Liverpool, man.
A real mad rating.
Well, I think we're going to go into the toxicity and where fan media goes, particularly looking at the team which you're support and the media channel.
Hey. Give you 100. Yeah, we have the best fans in the world.
Actually, speaking of that,
I think everyone says they have the best fans in the world, and arguably they do. Like, if you're a Leeds fan, I think I've been to games where Leeds play, and they love their club.
Yeah, it's different. It's different, innit? But I mean, that's what they say, though, innit? Like, every fan, no matter what team you support, the emotions are the same, innit? If you're fighting for the league, or you're like in the lower leagues and you're fighting for survival, it's all the same depth of emotion. So yeah, I wouldn't write fan base off based on that. But in general, like fan channels and football Twitter and everything, they tend to get accused of maybe representing an entire fan base with maybe like one opinion, like everyone's painted with the same brush. I was going to say, like, how unfair do you think that is? Because I'd say maybe with the audience size of most of the channels, it's likely that there'll probably be a fair representation, maybe, or across viewpoints. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a really difficult situation, because I feel like when people don't have the ability to decipher things for themselves and come to their own understanding of things, I think it can skew what's actually really going on. You have to think of it like this. I'll use the United Stand as an example because I'm part of that, right? All it is a vehicle for people to express their opinions. So we have different presenters on there. Myself, Mark Goldbridge, it could be KG, it could be Beth, it could be Ricky, it could be whoever it is. It's a platform to have the opinion. Now, don't get me wrong. When the platform grows, I believe it morphs into something else, and that's when you, as a content creator, need to understand that because you're seen by so many now, you have this kind of duty of care, this quality control that then arises from just being it's not as easy as just turning up and saying, well, I'm just a fan, I'll say what the hell I want to say. I get that. It kind of changes as you get bigger, which you might not have even meant to get big. It just happens because people gravitate towards that community. But I use the United Stand, like I say, it's a community and a hub where people can come and have their say. So, for example, if I speak to 10 people outside of a ground, let's say, right? And we've been losing, we're under Jose Mourinho, the ship's falling down, players aren't playing well. There's a lot going on at the scene. It's only ever a representation of the success or lack of success of the football team. If it's Arsenal, if they're down in 10th or whatever, I'm asking people outside the Emirates, let's say, how do you think we're doing right now? How are you really going to find a lot of people going to say we're doing absolutely fine? We're 10th. And you know what? That's fine. I'm okay with that. You're not going to find that. Now, don't get me wrong. I think where the line changes is you do get characters or people who see the virality of things and see how fan media was in its early times, because it has changed. I believe it has changed. And the stigma from the shouting into the camera lens, swearing, cussing every kind of bad word you think, because of a few people did that at the beginning because that's how they felt, versus that got fake, that got big. And then people then think to be the next Troops, to be the next Saeed, to be the next DT, to be the next whoever, I'm just naming characters off the top of my head, to be the next, I must do this, this and this. I need to shout loudest. I need to swear. I need to, and I think that's where it gets obscured. And I don't say arguments, but you get a lot of fans who come up to you and sometimes don't enjoy what you're doing, and they will tell you, especially in the United fan base, it's there. Sometimes if people want to have a normal conversation with you, I've got a lot of time for that and explaining why, why we do what we do, and you shake hands and stuff. Other times you get a lot of volatility. You get people getting up in your face. You get some real aggressive people. And even that, I won't say I'm okay with it. You shouldn't have to go through it, but it happens. And what I say to them is that it's just a different vehicle of conveying your feelings about the club. Like you said, back in the day, this just used to be in the pub, at your friend's house, or directly in the game in the terraces, or walking out the ground going to get some chips or something. Mm-hmm. Now, that vehicle for the information to travel, or for the melting pot of opinion to be there, is online. There's people around the world who cannot ever get to a football game, and now they are in a community where they can discuss their thoughts and opinions with other like-minded fans. And I just think that it is back to the question, it is very unfair to tarnish us as speaking for the fan base. So I do interviews on Sky Sports News. I'll appear on Sky Sports or BT or BBC or whoever it is, TalkSport, and you'll get snotty-nosed comments saying, he doesn't represent me. Never claimed to represent you. Not once. I've never said I'm Flex and I'm the voice of the fans. But what happens is for people who like what you do, they're actually okay with you representing them, because they say, he does a good job. I like the way he speaks. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And then you actually get comments saying, Flex is doing a great job of representing us. But even those people, they're being polite, so I'm not going to go back and say, I'm not representing you guys. But what I'm saying is that people in fan media, or they shouldn't claim to represent the whole fan base. I think that's very, very, irresponsible to do.
Yeah, totally, man. I completely agree. I think a lot of people get confused with the point of the channels being to give a voice to the fans as opposed to being a voice for the fans.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I've seen you deal with some like proper confrontational situations, man. You've always kept your cool every time.
Crazy. Do you know what? With that, I worked in special needs education for 9 years before I fell into YouTube, dealing with a lot of hostile situations with young people, physical altercations. And I literally do look at people who come at me like that, like ex-pupils, and I just stay calm. Yeah, honestly, because it's crazy. The stuff you see after the game, it's you're the reason why Man United's toxic and negative. So it's me buying the players. So it's me making the decisions and stuff. It's me putting all the players on big contracts and we can't sell them. It's me, is it? It's me. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Yeah. But this is what happens. This is what happens when people, again, like I say, they lack the ability to understand for themselves.
Mm. So you find there is that, from a Liverpool point of view, and I've seen it in, I watch I look at all the fan bases, and I've seen it creep into Liverpool's recently because of their bad form, where things are getting, because people think, because I can say it, I'm going to say it. Yeah. And things are coming really toxic. It's like, the manager should be out, he's been doing this, it's all rubbish, and this player's bad, and we should get rid of this player. And I was like, a year ago, this team was doing okay. A year ago, he was the best manager in Europe. Suddenly, it's like, there are people just saying he should be out. We should get rid of him. And it's like, it's almost like, because you can say it, people will. Because you can voice these opinions, they will. And even as a Liverpool supporter, I'm thinking, if you're saying these things now, you may be a fan who's come to it recently or lately. And I look at who's posting these comments on these Facebook groups and these WhatsApp groups, and it's like, well, you're slightly from overseas, and you perhaps may not understand the history of that club, or even for Manchester United, because it hasn't always been success. There's like a journey to how those clubs get to success.
Absolutely. We, as football fans, in general, I'll say, we want success and we want it now, innit? That's what it is. And I think with the emergence of social media, you're right there, Carl. Like, it's very reactionary, because literally, like you say, you think something, I'm going to put it there and send it into the world right now. And I think that a new age of fan have become obsessed with immediate success and not understanding the process behind it. Now, that's not me saying that you shouldn't criticize something when you can see that there's something wrong. But there does need to be a balance with that. And that's what I do agree with. I think that it's very, very easy to kind of just oust players and oust managers and want change. That don't work. Change. It is really easy to do that. But at the same time, what I would say is that I feel like sometimes fans are looked down on, maybe by bad examples of other fans. It's kind of like you get tarnished with the same brush. So because there's quite a loud noise of people who are just, get the manager out, get this out, F this, F that, everyone's saying, because there's quite a lot of that, the people in between that who actually understand that things just aren't quite right, but I would just like a change because of this, and this reason. Those people get drowned out by he who shouts loudest, as the term goes. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. The person that goes and makes the viral video that keeps putting it out to get clicks and to get views and to get that virality. The people who are being rational get overshadowed by that. And I think that's where the disparities can lie, to be honest. And you're right. That does happen, though. People from afar or people from who maybe are younger, maybe have a whole different experience of how they support the football club, no matter where it is, no matter what team it is, sorry. And that does play a big part in it. I do agree.
I mean, Liverpool were managed by Roy Hodgson. That's been the worst ever. I didn't get lower than that.
But
fighting talk.
Do you think then the emergence of fan channels as almost being sort of a lot of fans over the world, that's almost their go-to? Like, I've seen footage of like Robbie and the guys out in Asia, and they're the ones getting mobbed, and like ex-players and stuff are kind of just being left alone. It's always because it's just
exactly it. That is exactly it. It wasn't until I went on pre-season tour in 2019, and we went to Asia. We went to Singapore, Shanghai, and Perth, all in one trip. Amazing it was. What an experience.
Sounds amazing.
Listen, when we got to Singapore, that whole mobbed feeling, when they mobbed us and were coming up to me, and in China they couldn't even speak English, but they were saying, flex, I stand. This is where I took a step back and I thought, wow, like this thing is really reaching. But I remember we walked into a hotel in Perth and the team were in there. And Michael Carrick was just kind of walking in the foyer and everyone's getting like pictures and I'm like, wow, it's Michael Carrick. Like, this is sick. Yeah. I'm going up to I'm fanboying. I'm doing it. Do you know what I mean? And then I've turned up there and then like the Australians, they turned around and they're like, oh my God, man, Flex is here. Oh my God. And they've left, I swear to you, it's the most surreal thing I've ever seen. They've left Michael Carrick and come over to me and they've got the phones out. They're like this, they're like, I'm going, guys, let's all go over to Michael Carrick. Let's do that. But it was then when I really saw how big it is, and I do see that people see things like that as well, and then I think things like jealousy and envy kick in. Of why is that happening to them? Why are they any better than me and stuff like that? And I always say, anybody I ever meet, I always say to them, although I have the chance to do this as a job now, which is just a dream, I am just a regular fan. Like I am. I'm just a normal fan. I'm blessed and I'm lucky that I started giving my opinions or interviewing people and people took to it. But I'm just support and love the club just like you do. I'm just a fan. I'm not a journalist. I suppose I get put in a bracket of a type of sports, a new type of sports journalism. Like some of the journalists will talk to me, and I've got a lot of friends in that field, and they will say, you do understand, Flex, that what you're actually doing is a new type of journalism. And that's me that's the naivety of me not being a journalist to actually not even understand that. Do you see what I'm saying? That's how much of a fan I am that I don't even realise that this is a new type of journalism. But yeah, like you said, when you go global, that's when you realise how big the fan channels actually are.
Yeah, definitely, man. And the fact as well that you've got yourself into a few press conferences as well, which is kind of taking you on. I just wanted to mention that briefly. So obviously coming from the sort of the fan media, new style journalism side of things, all of the traditionals were kind of beating you with the stick of like the informals, the us, the we's, like when you're referring to Man United. Was that more of a thing that evolved after the event, or could you kind of tell when you were in there that you weren't really welcome?
Oh, I could tell from when I was in there, bro. Yeah. Especially because I can say it now because it's after the time. We were in press conferences when we weren't invited. Okay. Yeah, we weren't invited. And I'm not saying I'm breaking in.
No, it's the hustle mentality, man.
100%. I'm a networker, innit? So how we first ever did it was we were in Singapore and we got given some tickets to go to the game, which was amazing. And then I just used my head and we ended up in the press conference. So when we were sitting there, again, we're putting our hand up. The press conference lady, Karen, she's a great lady. You can feel it. They're looking, how you see me in this podcast with my fresh Eagle hat on, I've got hoodie on. They're looking at, they're going, and the cameraman's the same. He's got long hair like yourself, longer actually.
Yeah.
He tucks his hair in his cap. They're looking at us thinking, who the hell are these guys and why are they in here? You know what I mean? Very, very, I'm not going to say intimidating because I don't get intimidated easy, but you can feel it. You definitely can feel it. And you know what? I want to big up a couple of